Hey T, I am so glad to see you. I'm going to wait a few minutes. This is the Women Who Run with the Wolves, and we are on chapter 2, and that is on the section called Backtracking and Looping. So what this will be is a listening scope. I did not limit the comments this time. Hey Tom. So it's going to be a listening scope because I'm going to read from this section called Backtracking and Looping. It's very short. Hi, Tom. It's very short. I do have a lot of stuff underlined. So then after the listening part is over, we're going to move at 9:45, which is 10:45 Eastern, but 9:45 Central. We're going to move to Blab. And I already have a scheduled Blab for 9:45 for a discussion. And I really hope that you'll be there because last week on Wednesday, I did try the Blab. I did have a couple of trolls who tried to take over the Blab, and so I kind of had to stay there way longer than I wanted to. And then one of the gals from Periscope came on, and I was able to leave and let her have it, and it was just fun. We had a lot of fun. So the Blab discussion is meant to be fun, but this section that I'm reading tonight, I feel is really important for any woman, any man, any person who has been in any kind of relationship that was abusive. And I don't know how to answer that because that's not what the scope's about. But I'm sure you can ask that at any other scope and find that out. So good luck with that. So again, this is the book that we are reading, and it's going to be a listening scope. So I'm going to just wait another minute. It's not going to take very long to read, but this is written by a PhD, so it is actually rather hard to read out loud and not stumble over all the words. So, but this one is really important, and this chapter 2 has been about the bluebird tale, and it's the French version, which is rather graphic and very, very bloody and violent, and it has a really strong message, and it's about women as prey, as the naive woman as prey. So we want to really, listen to our instinct. Our instinct always tells us to listen, and especially when we come in the scope of a predator, in the eyesight of a predator, and we come into their realm and we see that, and we want to know. And this one section is really clear on what happens and when women realize that they have become prey and how they respond. So this one, when I read it today and was making notes, and it's like, wow, this is really intense. It's getting very intense. And this book, this is how far we are so far. All of this is on Catch. So I'm going to go ahead and start reading. I have to put on my reading glasses because I'm really, really blind. And this is really small font. So, okay. And I don't have music today. This is on the page 59. And it is called Backtracking and Looping. Backtracking and looping are terms that describe an animal diving underground to escape and then popping up behind the predator's back. This is the psychic maneuver which Bluebeard's wife effects in order to reestablish her sovereignty over her own life once again. Bluebeard, upon discovering what he deems to be his wife's deceit, seizes her by her hair and drags her down the stairs. Now it is your turn, he roars. The killing element of the unconscious rises up and threatens to destroy the conscious woman. Analysis, dream interpretation, self-knowing, exploration, All are undertaken because they are ways of backtracking and looping. They are ways of diving down and coming up behind the issue and seeing it from a different perspective. Without the ability to see, truly see, what is learned about ego self, and the numinous self slips away. In Bluebeard, the psyche now tries to avoid being killed. No longer naive. It has become cunning. It pleads for time to compose itself. In other words, time to strengthen itself for the final battle. In outer reality, we find women planning their escapes too, whether from an old destructive mode, a lover, or a job. She stalls for a time, she bides her time, she plans her strategy and calls up her power internally before she makes an external change. Sometimes it is just this kind of immense threat from the predator that causes a woman to change from being an adaptive deer to having the hooded eye of the watchful. Ironically, both aspects of the psyche, the predator and the young potential, reach their boiling point. When a woman understands that she has been prey, both in the outer and inner worlds, she can hardly bear it. She strikes at the root of who she is at center, and she plans, as she must, to kill the predatory force. Meanwhile, her predatory complex is enraged that she has pried open the forbidden door, and is busily making its rounds, attempting to cut off all avenues of her escape. This destructive force becomes murderous and says the woman has violated the holy of holies and now must die. When opposing aspects of a woman's psyche both reach their flashpoints, a woman may feel incredibly tired, for her libido is being drawn away in two opposite directions. But even if a woman is fatigued unto death with her miserable struggles, no matter what they might be, even though she be starved of soul, she must yet plan her escape. A woman must force herself forward anyway. At this critical time, it is like being in sub-zero weather for a day and a night. In order to survive, we must not give in to the fatigue. To go to sleep now is certain death. This is the more profound initiation, a woman's initiation into her proper instinctive senses, wherein the predator is identified and banished. This is the moment in which the captured woman moves from victim status into shrewd-minded, wily-eyed, sharp-eared status instead. This is the time that almost superhuman effort manages to drive the so-tired psyche to its final work. The key questions continue to help, for the key continues to bleed its wise blood, even as the predator forbids consciousness. His maniacal message is, for consciousness, you die. Her response is to trick him into thinking she is his willing victim while she plans his demise. Among animals, there is said to be a mysterious psychic dance between predator and prey. It is said, if the prey gives a certain kind of servile eye contact and a certain kind of shiver that causes a faint rippling of skin over its muscles, that the prey acknowledges its weakness to the predator and agrees to become the predator's victim. There are times to shiver and run, and there are times to not. At this critical time, a woman must not shiver and must not grovel. Bluebeard's young wife's plea for time to gather herself together is not the signal of submission to the predator. It is her shrewd way of gathering her energy up into muscle. Like certain creatures of the forest, she is poised to make an all-out strike against the predator. She dives into the ground to escape the predator, then unexpectedly surfaces behind him. And I ended that with a handwritten note that just says simply, wow. So the next subheading on here that we will read on Wednesday is Giving the Cry. And again, this is chapter 2, Stalking the Intruder, the beginning initiation, and the subheading that we just read is the backtracking and looping. So the discussion portion we're going to do on blab. So I am going to do that. That's in about 15 minutes from now. So that actually gives you time if you want to reread or take notes or anything like that. And I can meet you over in blab in just about 15 minutes. And it is already scheduled. So yes, please be there. Please be there. Yes. It's a very exciting book. It really seriously is. So thank you so much. And I'm going to say goodbye. This is available on catch.me. Every single thing that we have read so far for Women Who Run with the Wolves is available on Catch. So thank you.